Uh, Upkeep. Shrine of Burning Rage gains another counter. Alright. So, I'm going to put down a Plains. And then I will spend 6 mana
Oh, shit.
in order to cast Molten Steel Dragon.
Yeah, that's funny.
Alright. And with that, I'm going to have my Molten Steel Dragon attack you for 4 in the air.
Okay, I need to think about this for a second. So it has the ability of pay 2 life. It gets only 1 additional power for each 2 life you spend. I am going to declare no blockers.
Alright.
Okay, and it deals 4 damage to me.
Alright. And with that, I will end.
Okay. Very good, sir. I think what Gerdat is trying to do is put me into the kill zone so that the Shrine of Burning Rage will simply wipe me out in 1 blow. Let's put down an island, and I'm going to pay 4 mana in order to recast my Master Splicer. So now, I have a third 3/3 Golem, and all of my Golems get +1/+1.
I'm glad that you actually decided to run the golem stuff, because I didn't. When I was looking at the golem stuff, I was like, they're cool, but I don't think the games are going to go long enough for them to actually stockpile up that well. Clearly, they do.
Okay. For my next trick, I'm going to go immediately into my combat step. I'm going to swing into you with 2 4/4 Golems with Vigilance.
All right. I will declare no blockers.
Okay, and you take
8.
8 damage.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And with that, I will end my turn.
All right. Okay, so during my upkeep, Shrine of Burning Rage gains another counter.
Jesus Christ.
All right. I'm going to put down another mountain. And I'm going to attack you for 8 in the air.
I thought you were going to cast a Chancellor. Okay, I'm going to interrupt. Pay 1. Cast Vapor Snag. One of your dragons is going back to your hand, and you lose 1 health.
Okay. So, in response, I'm going to spend. Well, wait. Yeah. No. Okay. No. I will. My Molten Steel Dragon goes back to my hand. I lose 1 health. All right. So you take 4 in the air.
Yes, I declare no blockers. Okay, I take 4 damage.
Okay. So. Alright, I will spend 6 in order to cast another Molten Steel Dragon. And that is game.
Yes, that is most certainly game. Well, let's see how over the top I can make this victory. My first victory in a couple of these explorations. Well, I can't do anything particularly spectacular because as I observe the graveyards, I can't exploit anything that's in the graveyards right now, nor can I because this card kind of sucks like that. Instead, I'm going to pay 4 in order to cast the Unwinding Clock.
Alright.
During each other player's untap step, I untap every artifact I control, whether or not they are creatures. Going into my combat step, I'm going to swing out with everything. 2, 3, 4, and plus 12 makes 16 damage, 12 vigilance.
Alright, and I'm going to have my Molten Steel Dragon block the Master Splicer.
Master Splicer is definitely bona fide, which means that the golems... Actually, wait, no, do the golems still have +1/+1?
Yes.
Okay, the golems still have +1/+1. Going to damage step. Master Splicer is deaded. And you take...
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2,
15.
3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2. Aha! There we are.
And that is game.
So, I got fucking lied to during my deck testing. No, seriously. During my deck testing, I was winning. I won like 7 games in a row on turn 5, and now that I'm actually playing it out, it's just not happening. I want to know what the fuck. I want to know what the fuck went wrong, because although my deck is significantly too hot, is most certainly too much on the high end. I will definitely grant that. The whole reason it is too much on the high end is because of a card that we didn't get to see during this particular playtest, which I want to show off.
Oh, of course.
Rage Extractor. Rage Extractor specifically is fucking amazing because anytime I cast anything that's got a Phyrexia mana symbol, I can burn anything on the field for its CMC.
Yes. The Rage Extractor is a force to be reckoned with, especially because it does not require any specific mana whatsoever, not necessarily.
But I'm glad that for the most part we ended up looking at you actually put in the gut shots. I was tempted to put in gut shots, but then there wasn't really all that much stuff in the set that I wanted to kill with gut shot. I mean, sure, the splicers specifically, but again, I didn't think you were gonna go for the splicers, so.
Goddamn splicers.
But yeah, my deck is certainly too far on the late game. I know that, but the Phyrexian mana makes it so that really wasn't the issue I was running into at least when I was doing testing. The big thing that I noticed that Phyrexia does not have is a significant source of lifelink or life recovery. I mean, it doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense with the themes of the set, certainly. But, man, it would have been so fucking nice to have.
Well, there are artifact cards that late game will let you recover health if you could survive long enough, because one keyword we definitely left out of this set exploration are the living weapon equipments.
Yeah, but the thing about the living weapons is that this particular set, although it does have some of the really famous ones like Batterskull and I think Skull Clamp's in here too, or Skull Clamp in.
I know Batterskull's in here. Batterskull, that's the one I was thinking of. That gives equipped creature +4/+4 vigilance and lifelink, but you have to pay 5 to cast it.
Yeah, well, that's circumvented by the fact that it comes into play on a creature.
Yes,
it's really goddamn nice.
It attaches itself to a 0/0 germ that it creates itself and attaches to itself.
Living weapon is honestly a really good fucking keyword for equips because it immediately puts a body onto the equipment, which is one of the harder parts about equipment usually, unless it's lightning greaves. But we don't talk about lightning greaves because lightning greaves is fucking broken. But I couldn't find any significant source of actual life gain in the set. So could you point out?
Of course. I'd be happy to. The answer, of course, is white, because white loves life. Suture Priest.
Oh, no. Even in here, a Suture Priest, although would slowly gain you life, you would have to start flooding the board for it to work. And although your top end is close to about 4, mine's not. My top end is at 6. So I don't really have the ability to spam out a bunch of creatures at any given point. So Suture Priest would not have been an answer for me.
Well, it would have given you early game moves for one thing. The thing with Suture Priest that makes him fucking stupid is that he also is a measure of control, because he may force your opponent to not play creatures in order to stop from losing life, especially if I have multiple Suture Priests on the board, and I am running 4 Suture Priests. This Suture Priest is like, what's his name? One of those white 1-drops that says you gain a life every time.
Soul Warden.
Soul Warden, yeah. This is Soul Warden on crack. I've lost to Suture Priest because it came out early, it started using its nastiness early, and it gained advantage early. And over again. And I love it. I love cards that kill me because I learn with wisdom.
Now, there's Porcelain Legionnaire. I was considering running Porcelain Legionnaire and Spinethopter. Wasn't it Spinethopter?
Yeah, Spinethopter I think is a great splash card, because I notice your deck uses a lot of cards that exploit the Phyrexia mana mechanic in order to put them in the deck. And how many different basic lands are you running?
I'm running all 5 different basic lands, but I'm also running limited copies of each. I've got a single forest, swamp, and plains, and the rest are islands and mountains. There are no special lands in this set as far as I saw.
Well, the Phyrexia's Core, I believe, which I have out right now, is the only non-basic land in the set, and it doesn't even produce your choice of colored mana. Actually, it does not help you run any particular color whatsoever.
Right.
But it does reinforce the theme that Phyrexia is mostly a cannibalistic cult of part cyborg, living tissue over metal endoskeleton. You sacrifice your creatures, you put them in the graveyard. Your conversion chamber exiles said sacrifice creature in order to make a Terminator.
Well, Golem, but yeah.
They're basically Terminators. I'm going to create a 3/3 golem. Just look at this thing. It's got blood. It's got flesh. It looks humanoid, and it is terrifying when it doesn't have skin on.
I don't know though. It's got a lot more weight on its upper body than it would realistically have if it were trying to be a Terminator.
I am a cybernetic organism. Living tissue over endoskeleton.
And honestly, he doesn't even have an exoskeleton. Alright, so...
I'm actually kind of surprised you didn't run the Etched Monstrosity.
Oh, dude, there's no way I was ever going to get the discount on Etched Monstrosity off is my issue. Well, like, Etched Monstrosity is really interesting, and a 5/5 for 5 is really good. But I would have needed to run the other Golem stuff with it for it to work. And I'm glad that you ran the other Golem stuff, because the Golem stuff, as I just learned, is actually viable. I didn't think it would be, but it is.
It is perfectly viable. Trust me, because like I'd say, let me pull it out real quick. Where is it? Yeah, the Blade Splicer. The Blade Splicer is a great example of why getting golems on the battlefield early with these particular cards is advantageous, because not only do you populate your field, but your golems get extra abilities for every splicer you have out. Doesn't even matter that the splicers are 1/1. Your golems are going to run the table on your opponent.
Right. How many copies of Phyrexia Metamorph you running?
Phyrexia Metamorph? Just one. A
Right.
lot of these cards I'm only running one copy of. Vault Scourge, Trespassing Soul Eater, Spinethopter. I wanted it to keep my options open. I knew which things I needed to actually run lots of copies of. And yeah, I'm happy with how this came out. I was kind of hoping this wasn't just going to be, tokens lulling my opponent, but that is basically what happens. Is I won with a bunch of golems on the board.
Well, yeah, I mean, the creatures in this set are kind of shit, honestly. I love the flavor that Phyrexian Injustice got, but it's seven fucking mana. If you're alive long enough to get up to 7 mana, you should have won the game already. At least in most cases. That's the big problem with the Chancellors too. The Chancellors have some of them have a super amazing power if you open with them, and then you never get to cast them.
Yeah, which is, I was actually kind of wondering why you put Mind Calling in, because you definitely got plenty of draw power with your Tezzeret's Gambit cards, and that should have been enough. At least that's how I saw it.
It definitely should have been, and yet whilst we were playing, I was still struggling to dig into anything that I actually needed at the moment. I never did get to cast Mind Calling, but I had it game 2, and I was about ready to cast it, and then I was dead, so...
Dead players can't cast spells.
Speaking of dead players, neither of us went into trying to do Phyrexian Unlife, and look...
Oh, yeah. Well, that tells you that...
The whole reason I avoided Phyrexian Unlife is because although it's a great goddamn enchantment in a set that doesn't have all that much enchantment removal... You can't actually spend negative mana to cast cards or use card effects.
Oh, you can't. So you can't say like, well, I'm at -1 health. I'm going to spend 2 health to put me at -3. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. Phyrexian Unlife specifically makes it so that that damage doesn't kill you. You can't pay costs.
Well, that's because bare bones are the new flesh in Phyrexia.
All right, so this has been us attempting to explore the new Phyrexia set. Again, Phyrexian mana is stupidly broken. You don't need to play with it. The rest of the set's actually very interesting lore-wise, but it is really just an exploration of the occult of new Phyrexia.
Yes.
Yeah, that's about all that we have to say about it. Any other thoughts, Mr. Cloud?
Join us. Join Phyrexia. Become one and lose the flesh.
Or you could join the Eldrazi and become nothing but flesh.
I am a war machine! I am a war machine!
Sure you are, Rhodey. Okay, be safe.
Peace out, y'all.